lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother. It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others.
A forgotten link to Princess Diana has resurfaced inside the royal family, involving Camilla's daughter, Laura Lopes. What began as quiet speculation escalated when Prince William reportedly discovered a connection tied to his mother's legacy in a deeply unsettling way. Instead of staying silent, he stepped in immediately. As William dug deeper, the situation grew more complex, uncovering tensions and hidden questions about Diana's past. What he found didn't just raise concern, it suggested secrets that could shake the royal family again in ways no one expected. So, what do you think? Did William do the right thing by stepping in, or is there more to the story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. The unexpected resurfacing of Diana's belongings. For years, Princess Diana's personal belongings were seen as far more than simple possessions. They represented memories, history, and the lasting legacy of one of the world's most beloved royal figures. After her tragic passing, many of these treasured items disappeared from public view, with most people believing they had been carefully preserved and protected for future generations. But recently, new claims began to surface that changed everything. According to these reports, certain items linked to Diana suddenly appeared in unexpected places, under circumstances that raised serious concern. At first, it seemed like nothing unusual, just another routine situation involving old or forgotten property. People familiar with Diana's collection began noticing unusual details that seemed impossible to dismiss. Certain markings and features appeared to match items believed to have been safely stored away for years. As questions grew, so did the mystery. What once seemed ordinary suddenly raised concerns that something important may have been overlooked for far too long. When word of these developments finally reached Prince William, his reaction was immediate. He did not brush it aside. He did not treat it as simple gossip. Instead, he wanted clear answers right away. How could objects so closely connected to his mother suddenly appear linked to Camilla's daughter? And even more troubling, why was this connection only being discovered now, after so many years had passed? For William, this was not just about lost or found items. It touched something far more personal. It brought back memories, emotions, and unanswered questions about his mother's past. The idea that something connected to Diana could resurface in this way made the situation feel even more serious. As William dug deeper and searched for answers, he realized this was far more than a simple misunderstanding. Every discovery uncovered new mysteries, and every clue seemed to reveal another hidden layer, making the entire situation far more complex, intriguing, and difficult to ignore. What started as a quiet report about a few resurfaced items was no longer small or simple. It was turning into something far larger, something that could reopen old history and uncover truths that many believed would stay buried forever. William decided to investigate more closely into his mother's collection, especially the items linked to Camilla's daughter. But why did he choose to step in personally? What steps did he take to get to the root of the matter? And could this situation expose him to even deeper mysteries within the royal family? Let's uncover the intriguing details. Prince William breaks royal tradition. Many people assumed that any concern raised inside the royal family would be handled quietly, away from public attention. For generations, the royal household has been known for solving sensitive matters behind closed doors, through private talks, careful planning, and strict control of information. Disputes are rarely allowed to spill into the open, especially when they involve family matters that could attract public interest. Many expected the matter to be quietly resolved behind palace doors and quickly forgotten. Instead, William reportedly chose a different path. Rather than waiting for explanations from others, he stepped in personally, determined to uncover the truth for himself and understand what was really happening. Rather than sitting back, William began asking questions on his own. He wanted clarity, not filtered answers. Advisors were called in, legal experts were quietly consulted, and trusted aides were brought into private discussions. Step by step, he tried to build a clearer picture of what was really happening, beyond rumors and surface-level explanations. Those close to the situation suggest that William did not see this as a simple misunderstanding or a minor issue about property or possession. For him, it was something much deeper. It was tied to memory, emotion, and most importantly, his mother, Princess Diana. Anything connected to her carried weight, and anything unclear felt personal rather than political. As he continued to dig deeper, the situation reportedly began to feel more complex than anyone expected. Every answer he received seemed to open the door to another question. Details did not line up easily, and small inconsistencies started to stand out more clearly. The more William investigated, the more unusual the entire situation appeared. What initially sounded like a small concern began to take shape as something with a much longer and more complicated history. It no longer felt like a recent issue. Instead, it seemed to reach far back into the past, possibly tied to events and decisions made many years ago. As the pieces slowly came together, William began to realize that he might not be dealing with a simple present-day misunderstanding. Instead, he could be uncovering a story that stretched across decades, one that had remained hidden for years, but was now slowly coming back into view. Beyond William uncovering more mysteries than he expected while investigating the collection linked to Camilla's daughter, what is the relationship between William and Laura Lopes, and could it have influenced his decision to dig deeper into the matter? Or is this simply about protecting his mother's legacy at any cost? Let's find out. The heated childhood clashes. According to royal writer Katie Nicholl, the early relationship between Prince William and his stepsister, Laura Lopes, was far from warm or easy. Laura, who was 4 years older than William, entered his life during a very sensitive and emotional period when tensions within the royal family were still deeply felt and far from resolved. In her 2010 book Harry and William, Nicholl explains that the two did not simply struggle to bond as typical step-siblings might. Instead, their relationship was shaped by the painful history surrounding their parents and the emotional weight that came with it. Rather than growing close, they often found themselves on opposite sides of deeply personal arguments. According to Nicholl, William and Laura would regularly clash over one painful subject in particular: who was responsible for the breakdown of their families. These were not small disagreements or light family tensions. They were intense and emotional arguments that reflected deeper hurt and long-standing resentment. William, still carrying the emotional scars linked to his mother, Princess Diana's suffering, would often place blame on Camilla, believing she had played a major role in the pain Diana endured. For William, this was not just history. It was something deeply personal that shaped how he viewed the people around him, including those who became part of his extended family. Laura, however, did not accept this view quietly. She strongly defended her own mother, Camilla, and refused to allow her to be blamed for the breakdown of relationships within the royal household. According to Nicholl, Laura would respond just as firmly, pushing back against William's accusations with equal emotion and intensity. In one reported exchange, tensions escalated to the point where Laura allegedly told William that his own father had also played a role in destroying her life. These moments reportedly led to heated arguments where neither side was willing to back down, as both were defending their parents and their own sense of emotional truth. What these accounts reveal is more than a simple disagreement. They tell the story of two young people caught in a painful family conflict, carrying the emotional weight of past decisions. Their clashes reflected wounds that never fully healed and tensions that continued to shape royal relationships for years. Beyond William and Camilla's daughter being linked to a long history of tense disagreements over family disputes, what could the discovery of Diana's connection reignite within the royal family? Could it reopen old wounds tied to the controversy between Diana and Camilla? Let's uncover the details. The old royal questions. For decades, Diana and Camilla have been at the heart of one of the most widely discussed and emotionally intense stories in modern royal history. Their names have been tied together through years of media attention, public debate, and deeply personal accounts that have shaped how people around the world understand and view the royal family. Diana, often remembered for her warmth and openness, became a global symbol of compassion. Camilla, on the other hand, was for years seen through a more controversial lens, before gradually becoming a formal part of the royal institution. Because of the painful history that connected Diana and Camilla for so many years, any suggestion that their personal worlds might cross paths again was bound to attract attention. Now, according to growing reports, Diana's legacy may extend beyond the past, creating an unexpected connection to Camilla's family through her daughter, Lopes, raising fresh questions and renewed curiosity. People began asking how such a link could exist without anyone noticing before. Was this simply a misunderstanding based on coincidence or incomplete information? Could it be a forgotten arrangement from years ago that had never been properly examined? Or was it something more complicated, something that had remained hidden in plain sight, while everyone assumed the story had already been fully understood? As these questions spread, interest in the situation grew even stronger. Every new detail that surfaced seemed to deepen the mystery rather than solve it. Instead of bringing clarity, the information created more uncertainty, making the story feel even more unusual and difficult to ignore. For those following the royal family closely, the situation felt like the reopening of an old chapter that many believed was already closed. The possibility that Diana's name could now be linked, even indirectly, to Camilla's family through unexpected circumstances added a new layer of intrigue to an already complex history. And as more reports emerged, the questions only grew louder, leaving people wondering whether this was a simple coincidence or the beginning of something far more significant than anyone had first imagined. The uncovering of Diana's hidden collection has reignited painful memories from the past, bringing the long-standing history between Camilla and Diana back into focus. But how deeply could this discovery reopen old wounds long thought to be closed? And could there still be more secrets hidden beyond what has already come to light? Let's find out. The mystery inside Camilla's archives. As public curiosity intensified, attention began shifting toward the more secretive side of Camilla's past. What started as a few questions quickly grew into widespread speculation, with fresh claims and reports emerging, turning a simple mystery into an increasingly intriguing royal discussion. Stories began to emerge about forgotten records that had not been reviewed in years, storage rooms that had been sealed for a long time, and personal materials that had quietly remained out of sight. At first, many people dismissed these claims as exaggerations or misunderstandings. It sounded too unusual to be true, and for some, it felt like just another passing rumor with no real proof behind it. But as more details continued to surface, the tone began to change. Even those who were once skeptical started paying closer attention. What seemed like gossip at first was now being discussed more seriously, especially as small but consistent pieces of information appeared from different sources. The growing number of similar claims made it harder for people to ignore the story completely. With every new detail that came out, the mystery only seemed to deepen. Instead of providing clear answers, each update appeared to open the door to even more questions. Nothing felt fully explained, and the situation grew more confusing the further it developed. People began to wonder why certain items or records had been left untouched for so long. Was it simply an oversight, or was there a reason they had remained hidden away? Who exactly knew about these materials, and why had they not been spoken about earlier? These questions started spreading as curiosity turned into concern. Even more importantly, people began to ask whether this was just the beginning. If a few overlooked items had already come to light, could there be more hidden materials still waiting to be discovered? Could other connections to Princess Diana have never been publicly revealed or properly examined? As these thoughts grew stronger, the situation took on a deeper sense of mystery. What once felt like a small story about forgotten details was now turning into something far more complex. And with no clear answers in sight, the curiosity surrounding Camilla's private world and its possible connection to Diana only continued to grow. More questions have begun to emerge about what Camilla might be involved in after Diana's hidden connection is traced to her daughter. Could this be an attempt to erase Diana's legacy? And would William allow his mother's memory to be pushed aside? Now, let's delve into the battle over Diana's legacy. A growing struggle within the royal family. At the center of all these unfolding events was something much deeper than any single discovery or claim. Beneath the surface of rumors, questions, and rising tension, there was a far larger issue quietly shaping everything: the legacy of Princess Diana. Even now, decades after her tragic passing, Diana remains one of the most powerful and emotionally influential figures in royal history. She is remembered not only for her role inside the royal family, but also for the way she connected with ordinary people, her compassion, and the honesty she brought to public life. Every mention of her name still brings emotion, reflection, and in some cases, unresolved questions that never fully disappeared with time. For Prince William, this is not just history. It is something deeply personal. Protecting his mother's memory is seen as more than a private duty or emotional response. It is also about safeguarding a part of royal history that will one day be passed down to his children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. In his eyes, Diana's story is not something that belongs only to the past. It is something that continues. Because of this, the situation has expanded far beyond its original focus. What may have begun as quiet discussions linked to Laura Lopes or a few resurfaced claims has now grown into something much bigger and more complex. It is no longer just about individual people or separate events, but about deeper issues, hidden connections, and the wider impact they may have. Instead, the situation has grown into a much wider debate about control, memory, and legacy. At the center of it all is a powerful question that continues to spark emotion and discussion. Who truly has the right to shape, protect, and define the story of Princess Diana? Who decides how she is remembered and how her life and history are preserved for future generations? As these questions grow stronger, the issue becomes less about specific incidents and more about something far more significant. It is about history itself, and who holds the authority to define it within one of the most closely watched royal families in the world. Prince William is determined to protect his mother's legacy, regardless of what it takes. But what legacy about Diana is he trying to protect? Is it a course that is worth protecting? Or is he only being emotional because his mother is involved? Now, let's explore how Diana redefined royalty and reshaped the modern royal world. Princess Diana's enduring legacy. Princess Diana's legacy remains one of the most powerful and deeply felt in modern history. Her influence has not faded. Instead, it has grown stronger with time, continuing to shape how people see the royal family and how they understand public life, kindness, and responsibility. During her lifetime, Diana changed what it meant to be a member of the royal family. She did not stay distant or hidden behind tradition. Instead, she stepped closer to the public, meeting people face to face, holding their hands, listening to their stories, and showing compassion in a way that felt real and natural. Her approach to humanitarian work was not formal or cold. It was personal, emotional, and deeply human. She brought attention to issues that many ignored, including homelessness, HIV and AIDS awareness, and the struggles of children and vulnerable people around the world. her presence also played a major role in modernizing the image of the British monarchy. Before Diana, the royal family was often seen as distant and formal, but she helped change that image by showing warmth, openness, and emotional honesty. She made the monarchy feel more connected to ordinary people, helping bridge a gap that had existed for generations. Beyond her royal duties, Diana also became a global style icon. Her fashion choices were admired and followed around the world. Yet, her influence was never just about clothing. It was about confidence, grace, and the way she carried herself with quiet strength, even under intense public pressure. Even decades later, Princess Diana's influence remains impossible to ignore. Her warmth and openness changed how the royal family connects with ordinary people. She helped make conversations about mental health more accepted when few dared to discuss them publicly. Her compassionate approach also continues to inspire charities worldwide, encouraging kindness, dignity, and meaningful support for those facing difficult challenges. Diana, often called the People's Princess, earned that title because she truly connected with people from all walks of life. Her empathy was not performed for cameras. It felt genuine, and that authenticity is what made her stand out. She did not just represent royalty. She changed how the world understands fame, duty, and humanity, leaving behind a legacy that still shapes modern society in powerful and lasting ways. Princess Diana left behind a legacy that many admirers believe is worth protecting, especially her son, Prince William. But will everyone support him in this mission? If not, what arguments might those who disagree put forward? Let's uncover the intriguing details. The royal tensions rise again. As the story continued to spread, reports suggested that tension inside royal circles began to grow slowly but steadily. What started as a quiet concern soon turned into open disagreement behind closed doors. Different groups within the royal environment began to see the situation in very different ways, and this difference of opinion only made things more complicated. On one side, some believed Prince William was simply doing what any loving son would do. From their point of view, his actions were not about conflict or disruption, but about seeking truth and understanding something deeply connected to his mother, Princess Diana. To them, it was natural that he would want clear answers, especially when it involved her memory and legacy. However, others saw the situation in a more cautious light. They feared that reopening painful events from the past could create new problems within the family. In their view, some chapters of history were already too sensitive and too emotional to revisit without causing fresh tension. They worried that digging deeper might reopen wounds that had only just begun to settle after many years of difficulty. Because of these opposing views, the atmosphere became uncertain and uneasy. Instead of a calm discussion, there was hesitation, silence in some rooms, and quiet debates in others. No one seemed fully sure of how the situation would develop or what the outcome might be. As more rumors circulated, the divide only grew wider. Each new piece of information pushes people further into different positions. Some became more supportive of William's search for clarity, while others became more concerned about the possible consequences. At the same time, attention on the situation brought back memories of older tensions that many thought had already faded. Issues that were once considered part of the past began to surface again in conversations, creating a sense that nothing was fully settled after all. Instead of moving forward, the family appeared to be looking backward once again. Every new question added pressure, and every new claim seemed to reopen emotional wounds that had been carefully covered over time. What was once believed to be a quiet and healed past was now feeling active again. Some people believe William's actions could drag the family back into painful chapters they have tried to move past. But is what William has discovered limited to material value alone? Or could it contain hidden meanings and deeper links to Diana's heritage? Let's uncover the details. Beyond objects and possessions. One of the main reasons this story attracted so much attention is that many people felt it was never truly about jewelry, personal belongings, or physical objects alone. On the surface, it may have looked like a discussion about items from the past, but for most observers, the meaning went far deeper than that. These items were important not because of their material value, but because of what they stood for. To many, they represented Princess Diana herself. They carried memories of her life, her presence, and the impact she had on the world. In a way, they were seen as silent reminders of a woman who changed how the monarchy was viewed, and who remains deeply loved by millions of people even years after her passing. Beyond that, these belongings also represented history. They were tied to a period that shaped public opinion, royal relationships, and the way the world understands the British royal family today. Each item was more than just a possession. It was a piece of a larger story that continues to be remembered and discussed across generations. Most importantly, they symbolized a connection to one of the most admired and emotionally significant figures the royal family has ever known. Diana's legacy is not just remembered in books or documentaries. It lives on in public memory, in conversations, and in the way her story still touches people emotionally. Because of this, supporters of the narrative suggest that for Prince William, leaving questions about these items unanswered was not something he could accept. From his perspective, it was not simply about clarifying ownership or resolving confusion. It was about something much more personal and meaningful. The situation, as many saw it, had grown into a symbol of something larger. It was no longer just about objects or disputes. It had become about preserving Diana's place in royal history and ensuring that her story is not lost, misunderstood, or quietly pushed aside over time. For William, protecting Diana's legacy is about more than honoring the past. It is about ensuring his children and future generations understand who she truly was, preserving her story, values, and influence, so her memory remains respected and remembered for years to come. The items William is trying to reclaim matter deeply to him because they represent pieces of his mother's history over the years. But can he truly recover everything connected to her legacy? Or does the mystery surrounding their disappearance suggest that even more may be missing, no matter how hard he tries to uncover the truth? Let's find out. Unanswered questions and missing pieces. Even after Prince William reportedly stepped in to address the situation, many questions remain without clear answers. What seemed like a step toward clarity has instead left behind a growing sense of uncertainty. Instead of bringing the matter to a close, the developments have opened the door to even more speculation. Some claims suggest that there may be additional items connected to Princess Diana that have not yet been accounted for. These possible missing pieces are said to be linked to different points in time, raising concerns that the full collection of her belongings may not be fully understood or properly tracked. If true, this would mean that what has already come to light may only be part of a much larger and more complicated picture. Other questions focus on how certain items could have moved through private hands over the years without drawing attention. Many people are now wondering how such transfers, if they happened, were not noticed earlier. Was it due to oversight, lack of communication, or something more intentional? These questions have added another layer of mystery to an already sensitive situation. With each new claim and every unanswered detail, public interest continues to grow stronger. What might have once been seen as a small or isolated issue is now being followed closely by those who are trying to understand the full story. Instead of fading away, the conversation is expanding, with more people joining the discussion and sharing their own theories and concerns. As a result, many are now asking a simple but important question. Has the complete truth really been revealed, or is there still more that has not yet come to light? The lack of clear answers has only increased curiosity, making the situation feel even more uncertain. For some, the biggest concern is whether key pieces of the story are still missing. Not just physical items, but also important information that could help explain how everything is connected. Until those gaps are filled, the story remains open-ended, leaving room for doubt, speculation, and continued public interest in what may still be hidden beneath the surface. Despite William's efforts, there are indications that some items linked to his mother may still be missing. But could this situation influence how he would one day rule as monarch? What approach might he adopt to prevent issues like this from happening again? Now, let's explore Prince William's vision for the monarchy. A strategic and uncompromising future king. Behind the closed doors of the palace, more people are quietly discussing the kind of king Prince William is expected to become. According to a source who spoke to journalist Rob Shooter, William is preparing for a very different style of leadership, one shaped by firmness, clear strategy, and tough decisions that may not always be popular with everyone. Those close to the discussion say William is not afraid of upsetting people if it means protecting the future of the monarchy. One insider explained that while King Charles often leads with emotion and personal warmth, William is expected to lead with careful planning and a more calculated mindset. Charles leads with his heart. William leads with strategy, the source claimed. This difference in style has already become a major point of discussion within royal circles. Some insiders describe William as a tough and focused figure who does not easily forget past conflicts and does not quickly forgive those he believes have harmed the institution or his family. While this may sound strict, others within the royal household reportedly see it as exactly what the monarchy needs during a period of constant public pressure and change. Another royal source put it even more directly, suggesting that William understands the monarchy is not just a family, but also an institution with real responsibilities and consequences. In that view, personal feelings must sometimes come second to survival. The insider pointed out ongoing tensions surrounding Prince Andrew and Prince Harry as examples of challenges William is already aware of. He's not trying to be liked, he's trying to protect the monarchy, the source said. In 2024, both King Charles and the Princess of Wales faced serious health challenges that placed even greater pressure on the monarchy at a critical time. At the same time, the royal institution continued to adapt and evolve, trying to stay stable while navigating change and uncertainty. All of this has added pressure to the question of what comes next. Supporters of William believe his approach may be exactly what is needed to guide the monarchy through an uncertain future, even if it means making decisions that divide opinion both inside and outside the palace. There are indications that William may adopt a more strategic and uncompromising approach when he eventually becomes king. But has he done enough so far to protect his mother's legacy as the heir to the throne? Let's find out. The emotional mystery behind the palace. What makes this story so compelling is the way it pulls on several deep emotions all at once, making it hard for people to ignore or forget. At its core, it is not just about royal headlines or palace talk. It is about family ties that are complex, painful, and deeply personal. It is about loyalty and how far someone might go to protect the people they love. It is also about history, especially the kind that continues to shape the present long after the original events have passed. Most importantly, it is about Princess Diana. Her name still holds deep emotional meaning for millions of people around the world, especially for her sons. Even many years after her passing, anything connected to her continues to attract strong attention, powerful memories, and ongoing debate about her life and lasting legacy. The reported link between Laura Lopes and certain Diana-related items is said to have been the spark that brought this story into the spotlight. At first, it may have seemed like a small or even ordinary connection, something that could be explained away without much attention. But as more details were discussed, the situation appeared to grow more complicated than anyone expected. What started as a simple question slowly turned into something much larger. It was no longer just about items, belongings, or family connections. Instead, it became a story about memory and how the past is preserved. It also became about legacy and who has the right or responsibility to protect it. For Prince William, according to the way the story is being told, this was not something he could simply overlook. It became deeply personal. It was about his mother, the woman whose life and struggles shaped so much of his own journey. It was about ensuring that her story is not forgotten, misrepresented, or lost in confusion. From the moment William reportedly decided to step in, everything around the situation shifted in tone and weight. What once looked like a quiet royal rumor suddenly began to feel far more serious and wide-reaching. It grew into a deeper mystery, filled with unsettling questions and gaps in understanding that still have no clear answers today. And that is why the story continues to attract attention around the world. It is not just about what is known, but about what might still be hidden, waiting to be understood. So, what do you think about him stepping in to protect his mother's legacy? Is his approach timely? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.